Hi, I'm Rhys Lawton, and this is Mainstream Media, watching the mainstream news so you don't have to. Don't forget to click subscribe and the notification bell. Right, let's open another door on the advent calendar of media and feast on the disappointing chocolate of news. It's beginning to look a lot like lockdown, isn't it? Cancelling Christmas comes round earlier every year. No, stop it. We're fine. Don't jinx it. Christmas parties, though, doesn't seem like the best idea in this new world of the Omicron variant.
Well, for what it's worth, I don't think there should be much snogging under the mistletoe. You don't need to do things like that.
Unlucky, Robert. Good advice, though. Maybe cancel parties like last year. Wait, you did cancel them last year? Yeah, of course, I remember. At the height of COVID, this was before the vaccines, especially in London. Tier 3, no parties, clear as crystal. Oh, apparently someone decided they were fine. Two of them, in fact, a leaving do and a Christmas knees up.
Were you aware of those parties, and did you attend?
Well, I didn't attend. I don't remember attending those parties, but I don't even think there were parties that I'm aware of. But the point is, whether it's in Number 10 or any government department, all rules would have been followed all times.
No denials about the parties themselves from Number 10.
All of us thought such things were not allowed. It's not great, is it, if there seems to be one rule for Downing Street and another for the rest of us?
Well, Robert, the only information I have is what's already been shared, I guess, with you and the lobby more generally, that COVID rules have been followed at Number 10.
Rules which banned parties. Right. And you want us to follow your lead once again?
Is it going to be hard work? Yes, it is, but I know that people can do it.
Bloody hard work if you're doing this kind of funny business on the side. See the guy filming you? Everywhere you go, he goes, just making doubly sure it's all on tape this time. Even your Christmas lights tried to warn you. Go on, flick the switch.
3, 2, 1...
Take a hint. Even they don't want to party. What about for the rest of us plebs? Those who don't live in some kind of twisted fantasy land where two opposing things can be true at once.
What are we going to see by Christmas time? Can you reassure us, can you guarantee that we are going to be able to see our families, our loved ones, we're going to be still going to be able to travel at Christmas time?
Well, you asked me for guarantees, and I think it's fair to say that the nature of this pandemic is that it would be irresponsible to make guarantees.
Christmas is basically fucked, isn't it? Everyone knows it.
Emily and Robert will be in the studio to talk us through today's developments.
Yeah, lock 'em in. Don't risk it.
Under Ofcom partiality rules, I can't tell you my plans.
God, those rules have been tightened since I last checked. We had the full spectrum of media opinion for the run-up to the latest variant. The right's usually angrier than the left, but on COVID, total opposite. Chill out, guys, it's fine. Why are you getting so excited? No, it's in Europe. It's already here, isn't it? Yeah, right, nice try. You guys love lockdowns, don't you? Can't wait. The Mail Online was an outlier. Hedged its bets massively. Scary. No, the vaccines will sort it out. But it's still a super mutant, but the jabs work. And they were right. Half right. Hard not to be. So, said the media, why aren't you locking down harder and faster?
Wouldn't it have made more sense to do something a bit more dramatic?
Like a lockdown? Go on, do the lockdown. You know you want to. No, not yet. It's boosters for everyone. You definitely need the booster. Book it now.
So many questions coming in. People are asking, can they book online now? Do they have to wait to be contacted? Or will detail about that come out in the coming days?
Wait to be contacted for now, because the booking system we also need to update with the 3-month interval, which was advised by the JCVI yesterday. So it'll take us a couple of days.
Book it in a bit. Go have a coffee or something. Maybe ask why they announced it all before updating the system. Or just pop in.
What time do they open here?
They open till 8, I think.
Oh.
In fact, they might give it to you now if you walk in.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to work, though.
No, do it. Can you make me a promise?
Sorry?
Make me a promise. Just go do it now.
I'll see.
Go on.
See if I can be back in the office.
No, just I'll tell the office.
Go with him. It'll be fine. You can trust Uncle Sarge. Wait, it does work, doesn't it?
We don't know how it will react with the vaccine. I'm hopeful.
It's the hope that kills you. Merry Christmas masks. They're important. Everywhere.
So you're making mask wearing in England compulsory on public transport, but not in hospitality. Why is that?
Because when it comes to making decisions like this, and let's think about mask wearing specifically, since you asked about it, there's obviously a sort of a spectrum of action we could have taken on masks, but we wanted to do it in a targeted way. The advice was that this was the best way to do it.
Good news. Following the science. Following all the science.
SAGE, your advisors, are very, very clear. They say reintroduction of working from home guidance is likely to have the greatest individual impact on transmission out of the proposed measures, and yet you've ruled it out.
Well, I think our scientific advisors, whether they're SAGE or others, that's their job. They give advice. Ministers need to decide. And one thing, by the way, ministers need to
ignore it.
That popping sound was 1 million epidemiologists slapping their foreheads at the same time. Makes sense, though. COVID loves going to work. COVID hates going for a pint.
Why not pubs? You're talking about crowded public spaces. Why not pubs?
Well, I think, as I said, it's in the nature of the venue. In a pub, you're drinking. You can't do that if you're wearing a mask.
Yeah, whenever I'm in a pub, I'm constantly chugging. No time for any chat. Glug, 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 glug.
You don't actually need to wear it in the pub.
I think people should, especially if you're moving around the pub, people should be wearing a mask in hospitality settings. And, if you're in an indoor setting, there's no distinction between a pub, sitting in a pub or sitting in on a train.
Or in a TV studio, perhaps? At least those who've been double jabbed can avoid isolating. Oh, wait, that's not right. 10 days isolation if you get pinged about the new stuff. Got that wrong, didn't I? No stupid questions when it comes to COVID, are there?
One thing I genuinely don't understand is you only have to self-isolate if you've been in contact with somebody who's got the new variant of coronavirus. How can you possibly tell?
OK, one stupid question. You test them, Andy. He's leaving at Christmas, checked out already. Don't book any flights. And testing's a sound idea. What does the guy who quit after breaking his own COVID rules think?
Knowing I was coming to see you, I took a test this morning.
You're learning, mate. Well done. No snogging people who aren't your wife or your mistress this Christmas. A lockdown, though. Is it coming? Well, who knows? Maybe. Some ran polls on it. Would you accept another lockdown this Christmas? 92%? No. Don't know why they bother. Guys, I don't know if you remember the last one, but it wasn't a choice. Oh, no, I can't go to the gym because the government will be cross. No, you can't go because the police will arrest you. Unhand me, officer. There's an online poll saying I don't want this kind of thing. The one thing we can agree on is banning flights from Africa, though, right?
This is a safety-first approach.
Really? I'm sure I remember someone saying grounding planes wouldn't be any use.
There is no point in doing so.
Oh. Africa, though, at least we agree that's where it's coming from. No! For the millionth time, that's where they identified it. Remember when the press here went mad about the Kent variant? We're not to blame. We just found it first because of our world-beating science and didn't try to cover it up like those pesky foreigners did. Speaking of names, Omicron. That's odd, right? The papers with both a dodgy knowledge of Greek and, let's say, a mild case of xenophobia pounced on the story that the WHO had skipped a letter for the new variant. The next one's Xi, right? That's the name of China's premier. They're appeasing China again, like they've done all along. Except they're not, are they? Next letter was new, a bit similar to new, and it's not a new virus. Next one is Xi, but it's pronounced Z, which is why it's Xerxes or Brexit rather than Xerxes or Brexit. Written down, yes, it's Xi. Well done. But that's a very common name, like calling it Smith or Jones. As the whole point is to avoid stigmatizing areas of the world, India, South Africa, Kent, it would be odd to do the same with people. WHO policy for 6 years, long before COVID. So, yeah. Who's playing war games? The Russians? Gotta be them, right? It always is, isn't it? Well, there's a NATO summit in Latvia, and Foreign Secretary Liz Truss thought it'd be a good time to point the finger at all that Russian aggression. How? Bit of a chat with her opposite number? Cup of tea and biscuit? No. What better way to tell someone else to calm it all down a bit than by riding around in a tank? Visiting British troops in Estonia was Liz. Yes, we've got some base there, haven't we? Who knew? Some got it a bit wrong, thought she was in Latvia already. Maybe there's some there too. Not provocative at all, is it? The Tory papers went crazy for it. Why? Former PM Margaret Thatcher did it too, right? In West Germany, height of the Cold War, even fired a few shells. Now there's how to do provocation. So it's all about Liz evoking fond memories of the Iron Lady for those on the right. Not sure about the express one in the middle there. Don't think she's meant to be standing up to Maggie. Old Thatcher would win any day, Liz, even 6 feet under. And Maggie, a good role model. All the brilliant foreign policy adventures we went on with her, like war with Argentina, cozying up to apartheid-era South Africa, all that nasty business in Northern Ireland. Happy times. What's going on? Why is Liz on manoeuvres? Well, it's a race to the top, isn't it? Boris is gone soon. Who's the next big cheese? Not Liz, surely. Bit lightweight.
We import 2/3 of our cheese. That is a disgrace.
Quick, hop on a tank and look powerful. Who do you think you're kidding, Mr. Sunak? It's now a 2-horse race, and there's a new Top Gun in government. Yes, round 2 of the Right Royal Rumble between the royal family, the BBC and the press. If you missed the start of this, go to last week's mainstream media for a catch-up. It's all about briefings, counter-briefings, counter-briefings, all the inside goss from a guy facing the wrong way.
Why does it matter who is briefing who?
Well, quite. Yes, another helping of Amal Rajan's BBC documentary, The Princes and the Press, that got the palace so riled up. Bit uncomfortable, this. Face the front, Amal, maybe ask someone a question?
3rd of March this year, your front page skyline. Why don't you tell us about that story?
Document 4 in your folders. Mate, it's not line of duty! I'll save you the bother. That was about claims Meghan Markle had been bullying staff. I know, right? Old news, we've all heard it. She strongly denies it. Much more old stuff too, like the couple's legal battles over privacy and phone hacking. What about the other story we were promised? More vicious briefings, perhaps even by Prince Wills, about Harry's mental health. Roll VT! Where is it? No clip. The Mail claims the Beeb's been pressured into backing down. Hard to prove. Anyone got a first draft? You should see all the scurrilous stuff that doesn't get past my legal team. OK, my mate Nigel. For instance, that the Duke of Cambridge likes to... I know, what a waste of good fruit. It's not the first claim of a cave-in either, and the Mail was lapping it up. Apparently, this week's episode was going to be called Megxit, or Megshit, depending on your Greek. Now it's the catchy Sussexit. Not touching that one. After Harry said the whole Meghan blaming thing was sexist. Bit petty, they're both crap titles. I prefer Hazexit. More Amal hate this week too. Starting to feel bad for him. You know, he used to edit the left-leaning Independent. Of course you do. He never tires of mentioning it. Well, did he back the Tories in 2015 so PM David Cameron would go to his owner's birthday party the day after the general election? The owner of the paper, I mean. Amal's not some kind of pet rabbit. Seems unlikely. If you're sure, why is it a question? Just 6 years late, Rajan denies it, and it's unclear if all 6 of the Indies readers could have really swung it anyway. Look, the Daily Mail, I know the BBC's in the doghouse with the royals now, but the sucking up's too obvious. They hate you, just not as much as the Beeb. It's not the only battle the royals are fighting in the press this week either. Prince Charles is not a royal racist. Good to hear, mate. Kinda implies the rest of them are. Any context? A new book says Charlie's the one who asked about the skin colour of Harry and Meg's baby. Bit of an awkward one for the king-in-waiting, having to deny this while on a trip to a former colony which just told his mum to sod off. Awfully good to see you all. Sorry about the 400 years of imperialism. Sad to see you all go. Mummy says hi. Just to be very clear, I'm not racist myself. My ancestors were, hence this whole thing here. But I'm not racist. Got that? I love the music of Rihanna. Smart money's still on his dad. Doesn't it make you proud to know we live in a country people are desperate to get to? Fleeing wars we started, avoiding catastrophes we didn't start but also don't know or care about, just wanting a better life. Truly the land of plenty and opportunity. Except, no, stay in France. How hospitable we are, like throwing a party everyone wants to come to and then getting angry when they do. And it only took that catastrophic loss of life for the mainstream to decide that most readers don't really want those people treated with contempt or like some kind of channel attraction.
You come from Calais? Yes. How many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5...
13 people. 12.
Yes, it turns out those are people, like you and me. I know. Quite an eye-opener, isn't it?
Horrid news this week. Deaths in the Channel. Let's not go over the detail of that, but what we're going to do about it.
Yes, best not to dwell, eh? It's the shift of what boffins call the Overton window. Basically, what's deemed acceptable. Give migrants palaces? Of course not. Torpedo the boats? Don't be silly. Oh, wait. We did come close to that, didn't we? The acceptable norm has been fix the migrant crisis, Home Secretary. Not fix the system, fix this bit of it. Don't like seeing the boats. And that's meant a stream of increasingly mad ideas from the latest incumbent. Let's catch the boats in giant nets. That'll be easy to do. What about a massive wave machine? Fun too. Hey, won't that capsize the boats and drown the people? Nah, that'll never happen. Even overseas detention. Let's call them camps, why not?
Will only work if countries like Albania agree to take transits and migrants and put them in transit camps in Albania.
When did that slip in? Transit camps in other countries. I'm sure I've heard about that before. Oh, yes, the Nazis copied it from our stuff in South Africa. How soon the rhetoric returns. Even before Theresa May's hostile environment policy, it was all about bogus asylum seekers, illegals, which had devastating consequences for some people.
I mean, Amber, it's obviously slightly painful subject for you, given that, you know, it cost you that job in some ways.
Not really who I meant. Now the language is changing a bit. More compassion from the government? Yes, long overdue. Actually, no. The Home Secretary had a go at the media. Why? Well...
Over 31 people die in a migrant boat in the Channel.
At least 31 migrants have drowned trying to reach the UK.
Stop calling them migrants, says Pretty. It's dehumanising. Well, yes, she's right. But coming from her, it's like Gordon Ramsay telling you to stop swearing. My apologies, Home Secretary. What would you prefer?
People who come here illegally.
Too strong?
People who are abusing our goodwill.
Better?
You've got a swarm of people coming across the Mediterranean.
Way too far.
It was reported just earlier this week, prior to this tragedy, that certain Tory-backed bench MPs, their response to asylum seekers was to tear up the Human Rights Act. How does the panel feel about that?
OK, I'm actually going to move on, if you don't mind. I think we're taking it a little bit broader there.
Yeah, let's not get into it, shall we? Not very relevant. There's the Express, just realising Auntie Beeb's got a liberal left bias, but deciding to quote 3 people off Twitter as proof rather than risk reporting what they'd seen. Brave. More sensitive in the press, too. Don't blame those making the crossings, like we did the day before the mass drowning. Let's get a step removed. It's the criminal gangs, isn't it? They're the ones we have a go at. Or the French. Sat idle, watching the boats depart. What were they meant to do? Shoot them?
I began by asking him if today's appalling tragedy was largely the fault of the French authorities.
I think the tragedy is the fault of the criminals.
The PM even published a letter giving the French president both barrels. And weirdly, Macron didn't take it well. Called Bojo a clown, told the Home Secretary not to bother coming to the emergency EU talks. So she went off on a little European tour. According to not very nice sources at her own department, like a headless chicken. Wanted to have a chat with anyone who'll talk to her. Rome this week. Why? Who knows, Pretty? Maybe focus on building bridges with France. You know, where the boats are coming from. Macron also refused to let our troops patrol his border. Funny, that. Oh, someone didn't tell the Express. The troops are on their way. Maybe Macron said no, but we've invaded anyway. It's war! Lots of breaking news in this kind of story. Something just come in? Maybe stick it on auto cue. Get a hard copy? Nah, it's fine. I'll just use my phone.
But it's vital to keep all options on the table to stop these lethal crossings and break the business model of the criminal gangs behind them.
Nice one, Rob. All very subtle. What do the French media think?
The media here in France, they're just saying, look, just shut up with the politics, all of you.
Yeah, shut it. I'm sure that's a bit simplistic, but it's a nice change. After all, it took the Daily Mail just 24 hours to go back to having a go again. Aren't they greedy? Coming for that free food, those handouts, tying up the legal system in knots. Guys, have you seen the news? Oh, I see. You've included a line at the start. Well done. Probably had the thing ready to go, didn't want to waste it. Just a quick tweak and we're fine. And what about the public discourse? That's changed for good, hasn't it? Well, judging by the letters page in the Metro, not really. Let's give the human traffickers a taste of their own medicine. Dump them in a leaky boat in the Channel. Crass, dehumanising and trivialising the plight of vulnerable people really does make you proud to be British. Cue Starmer, eh? He's got an interesting relationship with the media, hasn't he? Are there methods in his madness? Madness in his methods? Or is someone else pulling his strings? That's why he looks so wooden. Take this week. Big report on sleaze, mostly naughty Tories, out on Monday. Great day for Labour. Let's have a massive speech from my deputy, Angela Rayner. Top plan. Get Ange to land a few blows, keep my own hands clean, take everyone's mind off my own murky dealings in the second jobs market. Well, nearly.
Keir Starmer leaves Angela Rayner out of the loop.
Once again, his deputy is caught on the hop.
Oh yes, the reshuffle. How could I forget? Look, I don't know the details of any reshuffle.
Yes! Give everyone new jobs, exactly the right time to shake it all up a bit. Tactical brilliance. Left everyone in the media confused. So you don't want us to talk about the Tory sleaze? You want us to focus on the row between you and Ange again? Look, last time you tried to sack her, you ended up giving her more jobs. And now you're deliberately poking her with a sharp stick. The reshuffle did see some big names back. Yvette Cooper to shadow the Home Office, Wes Streeting at Health, David Lammy to Foreign Affairs. Should have been wall-to-wall good news. Allow us to help you, mate. Give us a clue. Bit of a heads up. Most of us are as sick of the Tories as you are, the mainstream channels obviously didn't say. Rayner's lot think the Prince of Darkness is behind it all. Yes, Peter Mandelson, master of the media dark arts and Quidditch champion 1997 to 2005. Surely not. Could it really be he? A guy who excels at briefing the press? A man whose media manipulation delivered 3 Labour wins? Doing this kind of clumsy crap? Losing his touch then? Or playing a longer game? Yes, that must be it. Destroy Labour once again. Have the party tear itself apart. Why? Well, perhaps to make them all realise that there's only one man who can save them. The Dark Lord himself. He who must not be named. Don't say it, but he's coming. Have you heard of Adele? No, don't turn off. I'm not going to play any of her music. You know, the one your mum likes.
I'm just so excited to see one of the greatest singers of all time.
Oh my God, the atmosphere is electric. Everyone is gagging for a bit of Adele.
She is gifted, beyond gifted. I'm thrilled to be here.
Got that? Brilliant. All the stars there. The mum from Love Actually. That funny guy your mum likes. The mum from that motel thing. Everyone your mum loves her. Big special on ITV. Not a big plug. Fun audience with thing. Sure. Hi. Hi. If you don't know her, you can't have watched any mainstream telly or read any papers the last few weeks. Her music?
Most of them are sad and miserable.
Yeah, grim stuff. Thinks she's the first person to get a divorce. Massive, isn't she? Who died and made her famous? Well, Amy Winehouse. So, what's the big story? Something about climate change? Forced a government U-turn? No, got a new album out. That is her job, isn't it? Is it any good? Does it matter?
You've inspired singers. You've created incredible albums.
Yeah, brilliant. The coverage? Well, take someone else famous. Remember when this famous person said she wanted a bit of privacy, then sat down with Oprah?
I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
Don't give us that, you massive hypocrite. You want privacy, but on your own terms? Well, we're not having it. So what about this famous person? She famously wanted a bit of privacy too, then sat down with, guess who?
Girl, you can write.
Oh, thank you.
All the tough ones. What a hypocrite. Wait, what? Oh, sorry. I mean, how brave of her to open up about her private life so much. Woe betide anyone who isn't fawning enough. Like Aussie journo Matt Doran. He was honest to admit he hadn't listened to the album. Don't blame you, mate. Not your cup of tea. That's fine. Issued an apology after a torrent of abuse from her fans. Denied reports Adele herself stormed out, said they'd run over time. Hope she didn't spot her mate Oprah getting the lyrics wrong too. You guys have all listened properly, right? Made notes? There'll be a quiz.
My question is, have you ever used your Adelity to get out of a ticket?
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson flew all that way to find out about her parking fine. Next week, Ryan Reynolds is jetting in to quiz Ed Sheeran about his overdue library books. Climate crisis? What climate crisis? Excuse me, I'm off to listen to Adele's new album on shuffle. Christmas is in crisis, isn't it? Not just because of COVID. This was already a thing. All the papers say so. Why? Well, depends. They agree on the big stuff. Food might run out. Presents might run out. Booze might run out. Better get stockpiling. Actually, don't. It's mad. Unless you need a really specific kind of goose, which, let's face it, no one does. You, boy, fetch me the largest goose in the shop. Actually, no, fetch me the best one of comparable size and value. Why did it kick off? Well, first, the Wine and Spirits Trade Association moaned that imports are taking 5 times longer than a year ago. That seems to have come out of nowhere. What happened a year ago? COVID. Oh, no, too long ago. Hang on. Wait, it was the end of the Brexit transition period, wasn't it? Yes, Brexit. A bunch of MPs also chatted about the recent chaos in the kind of obsessive detail we know and love. Brexit, the ongoing negotiations, the supply chain issues, the driver shortages, the rising costs. That's all quite a big story, so some even reported it. There's the Times. Backed Remain, if we're still counting, which I am. And there it is, the B word. But the Brexity papers had a problem. They of the mythical sunlit uplands, the EU needs us more than we need them. They'll be fighting between themselves to give us all their lovely French cheese, Italian wine, German sausage, and whatever the Spanish make. Bit embarrassing if the thing we told you to vote for is causing a lot of the hassle. Wait, the drinks bods didn't explicitly mention the B word, did they? Even though it was strongly implied. Huzzah! Just report the fallout, no need to give any context. Or do report the MP's bit too, but leave out the Brexit stuff they talked about. No one watched it, no one will notice. Just quote the guy who talked about the global stuff. No, let's be fair, there are global problems. The Telegraph says so. But Brexit isn't helping it, surely. No one else needs to worry about temporary visas for truckers. Let's ask someone who knows. Anyone got the former Governor of the Bank of England?
I'm delighted Mark Carney's still with us.
You don't look it, mate.
These supply chain shocks, this cost of living increase we're seeing globally, do you regard that as a short-term or a long-term phenomenon?
Well, it's a lot easier to shut down the global economy than it is to restart it. These frictions will be here for a while. It is a global phenomenon.
Yes. All global, got that? Maybe it's the French to blame. It must be. They're behind everything. There they are, threatening Christmas, even though the Mail admits it doesn't really know how. Sneaky. Nothing about Brexit, though. No, don't bother. That was ages ago. That's all fine. It's just these supply issues and driver shortages caused by driver shortages and supply issues, isn't it? So, that's the food and drinks in, or not, depending on how much the global supply chain issues are affecting your local. But what about the prezzies? Did you get ahead in the Black Friday sales? What about Cyber Monday? Nip down the garage Tuesday? Buy it off a bloke in the pub Wednesday? If you did, you've been scammed. And if you didn't, you've missed out. That's the message from pretty much every single outlet. Record-breaking sales on Black Friday. Everyone piled in, didn't they? Got all the good stuff. Wait. Weren't you warning that 90% of deals weren't actually deals? Your readers aren't paying attention. The Express went massive on the scamming too. 3 articles in a single day. Why? Couldn't be because the Express readers are so gullible they need reminding again and again and again. Except, no! You ruined it! Aren't at least 7 of them scams? Oh, you've still got the warnings too. Nice. Feeling a bit queasy with all this Christmas talk? Here's one more gem for you. Word of caution, it's the Star, so someone might take their clothes off. No, it won't be me, but thanks for all the comments. Over on TikTok, though, I still won't be getting undressed. Anyway, eat your tree is the story. Yes, don't chuck your Christmas tree away after the big day. Eat it. Great for coughs and colds, unless you get the needle stuck. Except don't. They quote a nutritionist. Word of warning, that doesn't mean anything. And it's also alternative medicine. Another word of warning, that means it doesn't work. If it did, it'd be called medicine. And even if it did, they're talking about pine oil, not the tree itself. No, don't juice it. Stop it. Drop it. Or at least wait until January. My knob of the week. No, not Richard Madeley, I'm getting there. This guy, Nick Fletcher, new Tory MP, well, new at the last election, actually yonks ago, but a relative newbie. He's the latest one caught up doing some naughty stuff. Been out and about enjoying the Christmas lights in your Don Valley constituency, Nick? Seems like it from your Twitter. Oh, no, actually, that's the same pic he's already posted twice before. Said he forgot to take a new one, which is understandable until you realise they haven't gone up yet. He's also been referred to the sleaze watchdog for making Parliament debate the best way to promote electric cars while, you guessed it, running a company installing charging points. They aren't subtle, are they? Nick doesn't like mentioning his other job either. You know, the one he's elected to do.
Hello, I'm Nick from AEL, and today I'm talking about emergency lighting.
Aren't you that MP? Sounds fascinating. Also sounds familiar.
I'm delighted Mark Carney's still with us.
You guys have a chat. Nick says all his interests were declared in the proper way, which just shows you how screwed up the system is. Would that work in real life? Listen to me, sunshine. We know you did the Brinks Matt job. You can't touch me, you filth. I've already declared it. He's right, Sarge. Can't hold him. He's declared it. Is it that obvious my only knowledge of police procedure is crap telly? Back to Nick. If he looks familiar and you haven't been on the hunt for a charging point for your Tesla, it's because he's the same guy who also blamed the media for young lads turning to a life of crime. Why? Media role models, isn't it? They're all being replaced by women, aren't they? No one for the boys to look up to. Doctor Who. OK, it's an alien. Changes every few years. 13 of them and counting. 12 have been blokes, not counting the comic relief ones like Joanna Lumley. They're not canon. Doctor, though. Got to be a guy, right, Nick? Definitely not a gender-neutral term. Who else? James Bond, right? No, still a bloke. Nick's concerned he might be a woman next. OK, I wish I was making this up. What about Luke Skywalker? Pretty sure that's still Mark Hamill. Maybe you mean Ray? Spoiler for those who care, not related to him. The Ghostbusters. They used to be blokes, not like in the new film. Yeah, everyone wanted to be them back in the 80s, but the all-female Busters film was a few years ago, Nick. The new one has Paul Rudd as the main one. Bloke last time I checked. Who's left, says Nick, for boys to look up to? The Cray twins, says he. That gangster from Peaky Blinders. Seriously, mate, you need to broaden your viewing habits as much as I do. And actually, why am I indulging this crap? Knob. Say hi to Mike Parry. Hiya. You're right. You know, talk sport, talk radio, the shouty stations where they tell it like it is, especially if it's a bit dodgy. Anyway, Mike got angry when a football team beat another football team in the sports ball. It says here Brentford won, Everton 0, which I assume means Everton lost. Look, it's not my field. Anyway, Mike then spotted that Everton's star striker Dominic Calvert-Lewin, supposedly injured, seemed fine at half-time.
My cheek. My chin. My lip. My beard.
Bloody cheek indeed. Busted, right? Too bashed up to play, still fit enough to pop up in the half-time ads. Have I accidentally been eating magic mushrooms, said Mike. Well, I've no idea on that one, but you're right, that is him. Except, no. What Mike hasn't grasped is that while the football was live, the adverts rarely are. It'd be a bit awkward if Johnny Depp went to dig that hole in the desert and found out he'd forgotten the perfume or a spade. Inevitable roasting on social media for Mike. Weirdly, tried to argue his point still stood, but I think it's too late. I know football's exciting, but what happened to abusing the ref, the VAR, or those kneeling players? Keep it on the pitch, lads. Seen those news stories that really aren't news, I mean? They sucker you in, waste your time, you just feel cheated and angry. Why did you make me read this garbage? Why do I keep falling for it? There's the obvious hate click, you know, where you feel intense anger towards someone you don't know and will never meet. Like this. A self-styled supermum makes a month's worth of lunches in one go for £11. How brilliant! What do? Eat the same crappy frozen sandwich every day. Well done. What an exciting life you have. What about this? Save £25,000. Buy your first house at 25. You can too. Just live in a tiny room, flog all your stuff and work 2 jobs. Have fun. Then there's the secret trick people. Woman pays off £8,000 debt and saves another 7k on top. How? Cash stuffing. What sorcery is this? Special high-interest bank account? Some online loophole? No, just saving it in different pots at home. Why didn't we all think of a piggy bank? Maybe don't tell everyone you've got that kind of cash in your house. And what about the "why didn't you tell me that at the start" one? OK, take this. How I bought a home on an income under £16,000. Scroll right down and you find out she already owned a house. Of course, buy a house by already having and selling a house. Works every time. Some make a whole business out of this kind of thing. Why not do lots of mind-numbingly tedious stuff? The pennies will soon rack up over the course of several million years. Aren't you a money-saving wizard? And then, of course, there's the what's the point? Mail Online stuff, this. A bloke who got a quote for some carpentry realised he could do it a bit cheaper by doing it himself and using some old cast-off crap. Looked like it too. It's even nicked from another website. I didn't even have to check. The Mail helpfully had a link to it. Why is this in the papers? And why am I commenting on it? Wrote some self-aware keyboard warrior. All good questions. The answer? The adverts. They need stuff to go around. Not the real news, of course. That'll only get you a few pages. Fill the space with this kind of rubbish and try to get you to read it. And if you did, ha! You sucker! Now, if you'll excuse me, there's a man here who paid off his mortgage in 12 months, saved hard, switched energy suppliers, and... yep, his parents paid it off. Brilliant. Shall we talk about Richard Madeley?
Come on here, boy.
Calm down, mate. Watch the language. I'm getting there. Here's what we call a media veteran. Nice way of saying he's been around for ages and no one knows why. Bit Marmite.
All I can say is I'll do my best. If I throw up, I throw up. If I gag, I gag.
He's out of the I'm a Celebrity jungle, isn't he? Sorry, the crappy castle in Wales. No, it's lovely. It's lovely. Just as good as the Aussie outback, isn't it? Yes, meant to be a few weeks sleeping in cold dungeons, eating testicles and talking shite. Just like school. Happy days.
Oh, I could murder a cheese sandwich.
Except it wasn't to be. Just days in, Richard's rushed to hospital.
We're sending you all our best wishes and we hope that he comes back to the castle soon. That would be terrible if he doesn't come back. He's amazing.
Not sure she's that convinced. Newsflash, he didn't. He's fine and 200 grand or so up. Nice little earner. But let's start here.
I was here with my Judy to ask her some questions about this morning. Now, Judy, when you was presenting with Richard, what does your real husband think?
Richard, you are my real husband.
I always thought you was like pretending.
No, Ali, we really are married.
Oh, respect.
Yep, that is him. The infamous, massively misfiring Ali G impression. In his ITV This Morning heyday, he and wife Judy Finnegan were the king and queen of cringe. The Holly and Phil of the 80s and 90s, if you like. Talked about lots of crap. Judy's thrush, the time he doused his balls in ice to aid fertility, and then this. Well, the clip doesn't exist. It's way, way back, so I'll be him. Basically, had a guest on the sofa, then brought out the emergency responder who saved their life. It didn't go as planned. So, Rich said, "Stop crying. This is supposed to make you happy." Anyway, after the break, the biggest dog in the UK, and he really is big, don't miss it. They won awards, don't you know? Oh, yes. Bit of context. He thinks the crowd want more Ali G.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
The real one's here.
The real one's here. He'll take care of me afterwards.
No, not you, Judy. Your bra. They moved to Channel 4 with the same shtick. Then Watch, the channel where no one did. But while Judy wisely decided to take a back seat, there was no stopping Dickie.
Really sorry that Judy didn't
I know,
make it.
she's
really sorry
fed up.
she's
She
not
made the
well.
effort. You know, she was here, but
I know.
it could have been shared
with this.
We've got to learn to
had a bucket there, I suppose.
Bit of a tendency to overshare about his whole family.
And Judy got pregnant very quickly again. It was an accident. Sorry, Chloe, but you were.
That kind of stuff got him a column in the Daily Telegraph, giving relationship advice, where he was accused of minimising domestic violence. If they were going to kill each other, they'd have done it by now, said he. Sorry, said Richard, he'd misjudged that one. On the telly, he did become the go-to unsafe pair of hands. The stand-in presenter, covered for Matthew Wright on Channel 5. Bit of a prankster.
Did you see I got him? If you don't watch the show that often, Matthew keeps a half bottle of, it's actually water, or it was water, which he uses as a comedy prop. So when it's been a particularly stormy debate, he says, "Oh, I need a drink." And he seems to be swigging neat vodka.
He's been moaning about it all week.
Has he? Yeah. Well, I replaced it. When I did the show a few months ago, I poured the water out and I replaced it with actual vodka. And nobody told him. Nobody told him. And he didn't do it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And everyone was like on tenterhooks. And finally he did. He said, "Oh, that's what I had." His head blew off.
Nice one, mate. Aren't you meant to be debating hard-hitting issues? Yeah, that's the stuff. Bloody picnics. It wasn't enough for him. Craved more of the limelight. Back to ITV, where he proved he could also be hard-hitting too. Remember when the Defence Secretary told Russia to go away and shut up?
Do you regret using very casual Trump-esque language like shut up and go away? Please don't tell me what happened, because we know what happened. Do you regret using that language? That is the question.
Well, what was right is actually we came together with our allies and made it absolutely clear to Russia that they couldn't act in that behaviour, and I think that was the right thing to do.
Interview terminated because you won't answer the question.
Gav went away and shut up. Such was the power of Maidley. He might be a bit stuck in the 80s, is Dickie, but no one notices much.
A 95% chance of a 2-degree world for our children. Do you know what that looks like?
You mentioned your children. I mean, what you're doing
Why can't we talk about it? That's the conversation, Richard.
Darling, what you're doing is... Sorry to call you darling.
It's all so confusing, the modern world. Is it acceptable to call someone you've just met darling? No, it isn't.
It does shrink in the rain, I think. Denim, which wasn't the bravest
Better not
move
go
with the
out
weather
today then, Luce.
I think you should pop out at once.
Easy, Tiger, you're not at Liverpool docks anymore. So what's next? Well, before he went into the jungle, castle, his future at Good Morning Britain was already assured. New year, more Maidley. What will we be getting, Rich?
You can slap me around the face with a wet fish.
I'll pass. Don't ever stop being you. And now, my scream of the week.
Please leave the building immediately by the nearest exit.
Well, you may be able to hear that we have a little alarm going on here, but should we wait until someone looks vaguely panicky?
Let's carry on for a little bit. Well, maybe it's going to be quite hard to carry on, isn't it, with this kind of alarm going on in the background?
Attention, please. Attention,
quite
please.
dramatic. Hopefully it's
Please
not...
leave the building
It's a false alarm. This did happen to me once when I was presenting Woman's Hour, and we did have to leave the building because there was a fire. That was an old broadcasting house.
Right. Well, we do get these occasionally for alarms. Normally they don't go off in the studio, but this one is persisting.
So that's me, Rhys Lawton, and until next time, I will be watching the mainstream news so you don't have to. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss some of these sweet, sweet tones. Bye now.